r/ask Reddit. What is something normal that scares the shit out of you? Unexpected knocking on my door. I have nothing to hide. All my bills are paid, but for some reason I get a mild panic attack when someone knocks. It actually evokes immediate anger in me. I have to calm my face before I open the door. Feels like such an intrusion on my day. Let's each stand up and introduce ourselves and say one interesting thing about ourselves. I'm Bob and I try to kill one random person every week. Is today Tuesday? I volunteer as tribute. And as I try to rehearse my intro and get my facts right, I realize I'm boring and have zero likes and interest. My intro and facts sound amazing and cool while they're in my head. Once I open my mouth, I realize how stupid they are. Putting my hand into the garbage disposal to clear it. No one else allowed in the kitchen because I know they'll somehow turn it on. My wife broke a glass in the sink once and it went in the garbage disposal. Clearing broken glass I couldn't see was the stupidest thing I've ever done. LOL, I'm fine with that as long as nobody is anywhere near the switch. But my fiance is terrified of it too, so he'll ask me to do it every time. I had to hire a handyman to install our dishwasher a few months ago. This older guy comes, reminded me a ton of my dad. So he hooks up the hoses and tells me he needs to pop a little plastic cap out of our disposal to hook the debris line to it. But he can't stick his hand in to get the cap out because he's terrified of sticking his hand in. So I tell him I'm cool with it. So he pops it from the outside and tells me to go for it while he feels around the hole to make sure it came out. Our hands brushed and he screamed so loud and high that even I jumped a good foot up in the air. We both just started dying of laughter and had to take a break for a while for his heartbeat to drop back to normal. Edit. Both our garbage disposal and dishwasher are wired into the electric, so there is no unplugging them. My fiance wasn't willing to mess with wiring the new dishwasher in as it was cloth wiring, hence hiring a handyman. Our house is 150 years old and has been wired 3 times. So each room has about 4 or 5 breakers, which also connect to other rooms and turn off random outlets. The handyman had to flip quite a few to find and turn off the dishwasher wires, so I guess he just didn't want to find the garbage disposal wires. And logically he probably knew neither of us would flip the switch with our hands in it, but it was just a scare to have something move in the disposal while his fingers were in it. I always go under the sink and unplug it from the wall, and even then, I'll flick the switch on for a second to make sure that I did, in fact, unplug it and B, there isn't some magical capacitor in there. Interviews. Them. Tell us about yourself. Me. I still don't know how I got the job. Take it a notch further. Group interviews. Like, it's already hard enough to try to sell yourself to someone you've never met in the hopes of being able to support yourself. But then they make you sit with a whole bunch of people you don't know and then you have to try to one up the other people too. I've only done a couple of group interviews and surprisingly enough, didn't get the job for either. I just completely can't think of any way to be authentic when I'm surrounded by strangers and have to market myself with their beady little judgy eyes watching me. Don't know if this counts as normal, but mental illnesses. The fact that your own brain can turn on you and create a reality different from the rest of us scares the shit out of me. Growing up in a very neurotic family, my biggest fear was that I was like them and lacked the ability to see myself and the world clearly. It was sort of like my mum is in complete denial that she has severe BPD and PTSD. Her memories change depending on what she wants to remember. What if I'm the same and just don't know it? I basically gaslit myself. My mother has BPD amongst other things and she always changed stories or told new lies during stories, and I just thought she was doing it on purpose. I never thought it would have been part of her mental illness. Whoa. Aging. The thought of getting to a point where I won't be able to take care of myself anymore scares the living daylights out of me. I'm much less scared of dying than I am of outliving my ability to do anything. People think I am crazy when I tell them I don't want to live past 75. See, the problem I have with this idea is that by the time I'm 75, who knows what the world will look like. My grandma is 86 now, and she's 100% the person to have agreed with you when she was young. No way she'd want to have missed the last decade though. She loves her great grandchild and she's also still mobile enough to do the things she's always liked doing. I agree with the sentiment, but who knows what science will have thought of by the 2060s. Mirrors in a dark room. Like if you turn the light off in the bathroom before leaving or something. Feel like that's where the veil is thinnest there for some reason. Fun fact, if you were to ever see something in the mirror, it's because your brain is trying to fill in what's there based on a low stimulus, I think. It's called pareidolia and is why we see faces in objects, and flowers or animals in clouds. I have a mirror in my bedroom and every night when I stay up late I see something in it, but when I look directly at it it disappears. Kinda creepy lol, but I try to ignore it. This is gonna sound weird, but seeing things in the middle of the road at night. I was once driving home one night and turned a corner to see a dog in the middle of the road. Nothing weird, right? Completely normal sight in a suburb. Every instinct in my body was telling me to get the duck out of there now. When I see stuff in the middle of the road at night, it doesn't matter what it is, I get chills, goosebumps, my hairs stand on end and my palms sweat. It's happened with deer, dogs, people, raccoons, and even a trash can once. Can't explain it, but it terrifies me. Space. Just looking up and coming to terms with how big it is and how little we know about it. Don't think of it as looking up. Think of it as looking down into an infinite void, a true bottomless pit. That helps. When cockroaches starts to fly. The problem is not when they appear, it's when they disappear. Muffled buzzing behind the drawer. You know it's there, but can you catch it in time? Will it fly straight at your face if you move the drawer? Will it rush under the bed? Grasshoppers. They just are too unpredictable and it terrifies me. Frogs kind of too for the same reason, but not as bad. I feel this way about butterflies. They're pretty and harmless, but something about the way they fly makes me yeet myself away when they are near me. When I was about 10 I was helping the old woman across the road with her gardening when a frog jumped out towards her, and with the dexterity I'd expect from an athlete unleashed a perfect right foot volley on the frog like a prime Wayne Rooney and kicked the poor thing over into next door's garden. She felt so bad and said it was just instinct after it jumped out at her, but the way she perfectly did it made me think she was a secret frog kicker. Closing my eyes when shampooing. I've seen too many horror movies to enjoy darkness. It's an endless cycle. You close your eyes and lather your face as quick as possible, but you go too fast and open your eyes and now your eyes burn. So you close your eyes and go back under the water stream and you do it all again. The ocean. I'm talking like out in the ocean. Hundreds of miles from land. Treading water. Alone. Also, spiders. You would hate my sleep paralysis spiders. Kinda weird, but when audio starts skipping when I am playing my music, it scares me shitless. Totally agree. Instant anxiety kickstart for sure. Big something's wrong energy. Public speaking. My friends didn't really understand what a fear of public speaking meant till I showed them on my Fitbit how my heart was racing to about 150 BPM because I had to give a speech for an election that I was running unopposed in. Like, this shit is real. Did you win? It was an emotional defeat, but I ended up with the position. Phone calls, especially if it's not a number from my contact list. If it's important they can leave a message. The future, and people asking me how I feel about something, because usually I have no clue how I feel about something, so I end up lying and just agreeing with them. It makes me feel so fake because everything I like and dislike generally based off of other people's opinion, because I seriously just have zero clue how I actually feel about things. The only things I am certain that I do and don't like are things like food and music. Everything else, even things like my hobbies, I generally can't figure out if I actually like doing it or if it's because I grew up around people whose hobbies were the same as my hobbies. I only just realized this too. This is pretty normal and common as a young person, but the only fix for this is not being ashamed of not having an opinion about something. Just because they've thought about it and then put you on the spot doesn't mean you should be ashamed of saying I don't know. Plus, we learn by watching others. It's called observational learning, so being interested in something because you saw someone else do it doesn't make it any less yours, so to speak. Feeling warm. I had a vacation to China when I was a child, and ever since I woke up in the hospital there, I've been very, and I mean very, sensitive to heat. It could be 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside and I'd feel warm. The worst part is, usually when I get too hot, I have a wicked seizure and wake up on the floor with scraped knees or a bruise on my forehead. I dunno. Feeling warm terrifies me now because I just know I'm more likely to pass out. The thought of getting pregnant. I can't even count the number of nightmares I've had about this. The worst are the ones where I wake up and am 8+ months pregnant and am about to be forced to give birth. Terrifying. As a stupid little kid, I thought that sex wasn't what made a woman pregnant. That it was just a thing that happened at random once you were an adult, and I was so scared. Watching everyone you love get old. Yes, I hate knowing that people like my parents will eventually pass away. Nice try, Pennywise. My husband knows how much Pennywise terrifies me. He taught our 4-year-old to growl and say hiya Georgie. Every morning my son says hiya Georgie mom lol. That Lego dragon statue in the water outside the Lego store in Orlando, Florida. I recently found out that other people find it scary after discovering the submechanophobia subreddit. I have the same opposite feeling about submechanophobia. I find it more fascinating than scary. Freaking walking in the dark. You expect me to just walk comfortably when I hear a small noise in the bushes and I can barely see? I tell myself not to be ashamed of being scared of the dark because it's a survival instinct, meaning we can't duck and see, which means it's not safe for us, which means I'm not a baby for being afraid of it lol. Eyes contact. I don't know why, but when someone looks directly in my eyes, I will feel very uncomfortable and nervous. My hands will begin to sweat a lot and my throat will feel like burning. My friends say that maybe it is because I am lying or have done something wrong, but it's not. When I talk to other people such as my teacher, friends, relatives, parents etc., I often look at another spot in their face like ears, noses, mouth, or else certainly not eyes. The same goes with when I practice public speaking or being awarded on the stage. I usually look at the ceiling or the clock or an empty space between audiences rather than their eyes. I think it may be because I am scared of being judged or being noticed too much, and I am trying to fix it so hard. A tip I've heard to avoid becoming anxious, self-conscious in our own head is just to pay attention to what the other people are doing even more. Usually we just overdo it in our own minds to an irrational level. Relationships. For me, it isn't the relationship itself. I love that shit. However, the fact that your soul can just fall out of love on a whim is what terrifies me. Had it happen once and I can't do it again, that little tiny chance, and one scenario, has me all ducked up. The corpses of big bugs and snails. I have a fear of killing big bugs because of how their corpse would look like. I once killed a fly and maggots started to crawl out of it. Since then I haven't killed a fly. Wouldn't have been maggots, probably a parasite, such as a nematode. Reincarnation. I worry that we have to keep doing this life over and over again until we learn some important lesson. My concern is that I'm a super slow learner and most people figured things out 1,000 years ago. All that is left now is a planet full of a-holes like me who just can't seem to get it right. We all just keep coming back over and over again on an 80-year cycle of failure. Well, there's a muscle in my body that works non-stop without me realizing it, and once it stops doing its thing, I die. I do 2 pull-ups and my arms want to explode, all exhausted. We live in a complicated ecosystem where all sorts of plants and animals rely on each other to survive, and dozens of species go extinct every week. We live in a Goldilocks zone, the only place where life can survive. If the sun gets more or less intense, we all go into a global catastrophe. I have eyeballs and I have no idea how they work. I have eyes, so the idea of going out to eat or eating in general with people frightens me, especially if it's breakfast or lunch. If I eat, even a little, of anything except the blandest foods, I will have to urgently run to the bathroom, possibly more than once. And it doesn't help that I'll be anxious about using the bathroom because I'm around people who will notice. And if I don't eat, people judge me for not eating, saying it's unhealthy, and then I have to explain my condition. In the end, I just do everything I can to avoid eating with people, which includes skipping any kind of invitations unless I have to, and then just eating some crackers or a small salad or something really light and bland. I'm sometimes okay with dinner, not always, but sometimes my body behaves better in the evening. I can also control it by drinking and getting tipsy, which usually turns off my anxiety, so I'll be less likely to have an emergency. Still, I avoid it as much as I can. Porcelain dolls. They creep me out so ducking much. I dated a girl that had a collection of them and I refused to be in the same room as those things because they creeped me out so much. When a kid eats a huge amount of food, even when his body is small. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.